morning, good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. It's about, I think it's like 6:30, this is my time here. Up again early, it's quiet in town. It is Semana Santa here in Mexico, so the weekend gets a little crazy because all of the Mexican nationals have this week off for the Holy Week, and they come to Puerto Vallarta for their vacation time. So all of a sudden, the energy like really lifts in the town, and it gets kind of nuts during the day, like the traffic and everything else. I'll be posted to the Vistas page. So it's kind of nice to be up during the quiet time, because it's not going to last long. It will not last long at all. It's going to get crazier as the weekend goes on. Okay, let me just get this posted to this page. Good. We can get started. I don't know how you guys' day was yesterday. Yesterday's card was the Three of Crystals, which is creativity, which was calling out for us to think in different ways and use creative thought to maybe think ourselves out of some of the things that we might have been struggling with or feeling bogged down by. I don't know if that happened for you, but hopefully it did. I actually had a moment of it, for sure, now that I think back on the day. It's surprising how sometimes things work out. So that was our card for yesterday. It was Three of Crystals, definitely a mind card, definitely about thinking outside of the box, trying to, open our minds up to new possibilities and new options out there to help us to make the decisions that we need to make. Good morning, Carol. Good morning, Christelle. Please like and share. I know there's not many of you on this morning, and I know, Carol, you always do like and share. Thank you. Good morning, Nancy. Like and share the video if you can. Share it to your Facebook accounts, to your groups that you're a part of, wherever you'd like, wherever you think people would benefit from it. And let's see what Friday has for us. Today's Friday, the 19th of April. To me, it feels like April's taking a long time to go by. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm doing these daily readings so early in the morning. But it feels like April's like moving kind of slow. Is that just me, or maybe I'm in a hurry and I don't know where I'm going? Who knows? Good morning, Kelly Casey. How are you? All right, so let's see what the cards have in store for us for Friday, April 19th. Give me one moment. Interesting. So the word that I'm getting today, or like what I was feeling in the shuffle, is that it felt like a kind of normal day, except that we're going to be sort of facing disagreements with people, like differences of opinion. I don't know, and nothing major, but just sort of like coming up against other people with their differences of opinion and trying to find ways to make them work. Does that make sense? I don't know. It was just the way that the cards were laying together. It made me feel like there was good morning, Dose. It made me feel like sort of opposing viewpoints, sort of not clashing per se, but coming up against viewpoints that aren't similar to our own, and then having to find a way to kind of get our point across today. So we might find ourselves in situations like that. It didn't seem like it would be a ton of resistance, but it felt like that's going to be sort of the theme today. It's maybe, who knows, maybe we're not going to be pushing Are viewpoints too hard? Carol says, "Uh oh, my husband's home today. LOL." Maybe that's what it is today. It feels a bit like opposing viewpoints day today. Didn't feel like super major. Like sometimes when the cards are really clunky, they come together. Like when they shuffle together, they don't shuffle like card over card over card. They shuffle in like small groups of like 3 to 5 cards, like clunk 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 clunk. That means to me sort of like that, you know, there's one set of ideas over on this side and one set of ideas on this side, and they're trying to come together, but they're not, maybe not seeing it. And sometimes it can be real clunky or feel heavy while I'm doing it. This didn't feel heavy to me, so it doesn't feel like it's going to be like a horrible day. I don't want to freak anybody out, but it did feel like you might find yourself dealing with some people that you don't quite fully understand, sort of what their viewpoint means, or if it makes any sense to you, or do you know what I mean? So it feels like it's going to be one of those kind of days. Not that it's going to be miscommunication, just sort of like you might have to work within somebody's, parameters to get your point across. So the card we get today is interesting. It's the Magician. It's the first card of the major, well, not the first card, but it's the number one card of the major arcana. Again, lots of energy around this card. The Magician, to me, let me just look at this for a minute. The Magician, for me, is about like owning our own power, and also, but not sort of abusing it in the same right. So, like having the skills to kind of be able to make magic happen and get our point across, like I was talking about in that shuffle, but without like sort of like manipulating or forcing people into that sort of way of thought, right? There is an impulsivity to this card, and there is sort of like a little bit of a how do I want to put it? Like, we might be facing some things of the past in this card. Good morning, Karen. How are you? I hope you're doing well today. Much love to you. There is like if we find ourselves reflecting on things in the past, I wouldn't be surprised about that a little bit, like old relationships or old things coming up for us that might be sort of that we have to work on, or sort of work our magic around, if that makes any sense. Um, and then there's also sort of a little bit of, and maybe this is because I'm in Mexico and the energy of Semana Santa is here, but there also is a little, and it is a Friday, there is a little bit of like celebration in this card. Like I feel like we can use our magic a little bit today to sort of have fun and explore. Just be wary or be mindful that we're not doing it in a way that harms others. Does that make sense? Like if we're not taking others for granted while we are having our own fun too. So that would be the only downside with this card, where like say, when the star has shown up in our spreads, like when we have our daily readings and the star comes up, the star's about having her power and her intuition, but kind of silently, passively having it and just knowing it. The Magician is a bit more of a show off in a way. Like the Magician has power and strength and kind of goes like, look what I can do, and which is great. But sometimes people get put off by that, or sometimes people get a little bit I don't know. Sometimes it affects others. It's got less passivity than the star card does, right? But it has just as much power, maybe even sometimes more power. There's a lot of charisma with the Magician card. So if we're feeling extra charismatic today, that's good. If we're able to attract the mind and thoughts of others and bring them over to our side, that's good. But I would be mindful and aware of how we're doing it and why we're doing it and to what ends are we doing it. Because sometimes there is a sort of like I said, an impulsivity, a manipulation, a sort of, I don't know if it's selfishness, but it is sort of, maybe it is a little bit like self-centered in that way. Does that make sense? So be aware of that if we find ourselves acting that way. or in situations where we want to act that way. This could also, I'm just sort of kind of picking up that this could also represent us bumping into somebody like this today. So this card kind of now is feeling like it could have a dual meaning to me, like in the sense that this could either be us acting out this way and sort of, or we could be running into, like, say, a boss or a boyfriend, or in Carol's case, a husband that might be trying to, um, woo us or manipulate us into doing something that we maybe don't necessarily. It's not that we don't want to, because the magician is very attractive. Like I said, there's a charisma with the magician that, whether it's us as the card or it's somebody we're dealing with as the card, they have sway, they have charisma, they have power. So if it's us, if we're in this role today, we need to honor that power and be respectful with that power. If it's somebody else that is using that sway and that charisma, just be wary. I would say that, okay? Because it is the magician. Although the magician has tons of magic, these are just tricks. So, a little bit of it could be, and I mean that in the sense that, like, if it is somebody else, some of the things that they may be saying to you may not be completely true or completely, they have their own agenda. Just like if this card represents for you today, if you find yourself doing this, you have your own agenda. That's back to that sort of selfish sort of aspect to it. It's like having your own agenda and wanting to get that across. And I definitely felt that going through with the cards. I felt like there was disagreements. There was like sort of not miscommunications, but sort of at odds. Like, I've got one viewpoint, you've got another. How do we make them meet? So this card plays on both sides of that. It could be you this today acting as the magician, or it can be somebody else acting as the magician. If you feel like you're being manipulated today, step back and go like, okay, that's their stuff. If you feel like you're needing to have to manipulate somebody and work some magic to get your stuff across, you certainly can do so, but make sure you're doing it with a clear heart and good intent, and not harming anybody, like, sort of in the process. That would be my spiritual forecast for the day today. There is power in this card. It is a Friday night. For any of you drinkers out there, or anybody that likes to imbibe, please be careful. There is a little bit of that going on in this card too. There might be a little bit too much celebration. That's where I was saying it kind of, I wasn't sure if it was connecting to the Semana Santa stuff here that's getting ready to kick off in Mexico. But there is this sort of, I should show you the card just so you guys can see the card, but I'm kind of being pulled towards this upside down wine glass and these fireworks, and it's making me feel like, okay, so there's going to be like a little bit of like kind of raucous energy, and that's probably going to be later in the evening. If we find ourselves getting caught up in that, great, have fun, enjoy it, but again, don't let it go too far, become too overwhelming that it becomes not fun. Does that make sense? Okay, so I hope that gives you some insight into your day today. I hope that if you are the magician, you are aware of your power and you wield it wisely and with a kind heart. And if you deal with the magician today and you find yourself dealing with somebody who might be impulsive or a little bit feeling like they might be trying to, I don't know, push their tricks on you, just, you can be aware of them and sort of acknowledge them for who they are and allow them to be who they are without getting too caught up in their magic, okay, so to speak, quote unquote. All right, you guys, have a great day. If you guys want to book a personal reading, all my information for YouTube is in the About Me page, and on Facebook, it's all pinned to the video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, or like, share, follow me on Facebook, and so you can see the dailies and the pop-ups when I do individual cards for people in the room. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to message me directly at the business page on Facebook or my personal page on Facebook. Those are really the best places to get a hold of me. I noticed somebody messaged the website, which I'm not even sure I'm going to keep the website because I get hardly any traffic from it. I've had it for 4 or 5 years, and it just sort of, they're wanting me to auto renew for another 4 years, and it's kind of, I get so little, emails or whatever, so it's kind of dead weight, I feel like. So I might let go of the website out on the internet and only use the business page through Facebook, because social media really seems to be the key to all of this. All right, you guys, have a great day. And hopefully it's full of magic, all the good kind of magic that we all need and benefit from. All right, bye.